Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Ta-da, It's Done. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Evie Burke and I help women entrepreneurs who work for themselves and by themselves discover the insights that allow them to take their productivity to a new level so they don't have to lay awake at night thinking about all the stuff that didn't get done. And my question for you this week is, what does your inbox look like? And if it's anything like mine, there's a few emails hanging out in there. Okay, so maybe more than a few, but people assume that my inbox is pretty empty, and it's not. There's some stuff hanging out in there. However, compared to some people's inboxes, it is pretty empty. It just depends on how you're judging it. And I occasionally have conversations with people who aspire to live in the mythical land of having nothing in their inbox. You know, the inbox zero, where everything is read and replied to and sorted into wherever it needs to be sorted into. But that rarely, if ever, actually happens for people because they run out of time to do anything other than respond to the time sensitive emails, and everything else just ends up piling up in their inbox. So there's two things you should keep in mind when it comes to your email. The first thing is you don't need to be at inbox zero. Instead, you should have a level that's manageable for you. And the second thing is, if you don't put time in your email, or if you don't put time for your email on your schedule or your to-do list, you're always going to run out of time for it. But all time spent in your email is not equal. It's easy to say set aside time for your email, but you need to schedule different purposes to be in your email. So yes, schedule time to sort your email, and you might be able to sort it in 15 minutes, but you're not going to be able to read or respond or make those decisions that happen with those emails in that time. So set aside time to sort your email, and then also set aside time for these categories. These categories are: one, the things you need more time to read. So these might be newsletters, um, just longer emails that you need more time to read that might not also be super important. So put those in a separate folder where you can come back to them when you have time. And if you find you don't have time, you might just delete them all and move on. The second thing to schedule some time for is decisions to be made or things to research. So are you going to attend that networking event that just sent you an email? What's the next step for that project that somebody was asking about? Do you remember that person that we hired to take care of that thing 2 years ago? These things need to be put individually on your to-do list, because if you leave them in your email, they're not going to get done. They're just going to hang out there. And then the third thing to schedule time for is responses that need to be written. So set that time aside. This might be regarding those decisions that you made in step 2, or it might be those seemingly quick replies that were like, oh, I'll just reply to this. It'll be like a minute, and then like 10 minutes later, you're still working on that response. Because, those replies never are as quick as we think they're going to be, right? So set aside time for these different actions for your email, and ta-da, your email is more manageable. And you might have some other categories that work for you, and I would love to know what those are. So share them in the comments below. And until next week, much love. Bye, everybody.